Well, it's going to be a little balmy, get warmer, and it's going to get cold, 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 and tons, tons, tons of snow. You folks in the Northeast, New York, Virginia, that's not even, that's like, whatever that is, the coast, right? Pennsylvania, Philly, D.C. This winter is going to be nippy. You better get prepared. But not only that, so Donnie's big Christmas present is his court date for his mishandling of top secret documents at Mar-a-Lago, and ooh, he's toast, right? So, what's he going to do about that? Uh, what's he going to do? He's going to invade Venezuela. Nice distraction. But Venezuela will make Vietnam look like Disneyland. Good luck with that. You know, Donnie is the closest thing to Woodrow Wilson we've had, right? Woodrow got in by saying, everyone was sick of war after the Civil War, the Indian Wars, the Mexican Wars, and the Spanish-American War, right? And Woodrow got in by saying, I'm a liberal, I'm progressive, and I'm going to not have wars. Now, within the year, he was in World War I. Within the year, he got all those statues up for all the Civil War psychopaths. And, he doubled down on Jim Crow, right? And then he took out a lot of the circuit breakers economically so the Depression could happen, right? He also gave us the Internal Revenue, and he also gave us the Federal Reserve, which is not, the Federal Reserve is as part of the government as Federal Express is. I would say Federal Express is probably more part of the government than Federal Reserve. But the people who print our money set our economic principles, basically. It's a private corporation. It's a bank unto itself. It's owned by stockholders, banks and other, those guys who are on that board. And so when '08 happened, which they basically, Bill Clinton, first it really started with Jimmy Carter. Before Jimmy Carter, you could only own a rifle and a handgun. No machine guns, no automatics. You could have a shotgun, 30-06, a 22, and a 38 revolver, where it had 6 bullets that went around. You had to pull the trigger, went click, bang, click, bang. Jimmy Carter made it so you could have an automatic weapon. He took that off the alcohol and tobacco guys' lights because somebody dropped a nice little ching-ching on him. So that's why we've had over 380 mass shootings in America. Yeah, we've had like 6 in the last week. Right? Thank you, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter also did a number of things that disabled the economic system, why we had stagflation. He took a lot of circuit breakers out. But the person who really destroyed the place was Bill Clinton. He got rid of whatever was left of the safety net, right? And he put, before Bill Clinton, there were maybe like 900,000 people in jail. After Bill Clinton, when George W. took over, there were 6 million people in jail, and most of them were people of color. And that's when, 16% of America's population were people of color, where 99% of the people in jail were people of color. I wonder why. So keep going, right? So then we got George W. and Dick Cheney. Somebody's named Richard. Why do you call him Dick? There's Dick Armey, right? Dick Cheney, Dick Nixon, all those dicks. So anyway, so we're having a perfect storm basically Israel, which was one of the most, how can I put it, well placed, you know, things. I wouldn't call it a state. I'd call it a thing in the Mideast, right? So it was, profitable, and it had a, real, not, I wouldn't call it progressive, but, an economic system that was, not dependent on stuff in the ground, right? And now they've been at war for 2 years. They didn't have a debt before, October 7th. Now they're broke, and we're bailing them out, and we're about to crash. So Israel goes down, America goes down. Donnie's about to go to jail. What do you have? First, we have Donnie invade Venezuela. Now, right along the coast where those Marines are supposed to go on shore, there's a mountain range. It's not a beach, right? And Venezuela is one gigantic rainforest, not like Vietnam. Like, you can't get through this stuff, right? And they have all this stuff dug in under mountains that makes, Iran look like white out, open. So anyway, good luck. So what are we going to have? And then we look at, Ukraine and Russia, right? Russia is like toast, right? They're now selling their gold. This is not good. Does not look good. And Ukraine can hit anything in Russia it wants without worrying to get shot down. Yeah, Russia keeps shooting stuff at them, but they're developing, a system to take all the Russian drones out. So their cities are like beat up, but they don't have the death and destruction of an army like Russia has. So Putin just gave a speech because Ukraine hit Moscow pretty hard last night or the night before. He said, all gloves are off. We're going to use everything we have. That means tactical nuclear weapons. And they're saying, listen, you're hitting Russia with weapons that Ukraine doesn't really have. They're European weapons. The only way they work is by your European and American intelligence, giving the information to the weapons. So, so they're already saying this is a war not with Ukraine, but NATO, and we're going after everybody. So they're going to drop nukes on France and Brussels and you name it, even us. And Donnie would love that. One nice thing, and fries all the integrated ships, and so no one can do anything in America. And he's at war in Venezuela, where 30% of our Navy is, and it's right in the corner where that big Jerry Ford aircraft carrier is a sitting duck. Ooh la la, ooh la la. Get ready, folks. I hope you're enjoying this. This is what you asked for. This is what you voted for. This is what you're getting. And I've been around, look at me, I'm an old guy, I've had an amazing life. And why was my life so amazing? Because I spent it helping others. That's what makes you happy, helping others, right? And in that, I got out of the way of my own life. So I had I served, praise God, praise Jesus, you know what I mean? And not some churchy praise God, praise Jesus, but right there, right in the foxhole with God, right? So it ain't going to be that bad. If you know how to let God lead you through this mirage. It's not like this ain't nothing new, This ain't what it is. It's shock and awe. They're gonna try and scare you. I wouldn't. What else could happen? Alien invasion. So we're heading towards the Federation. They want to push us into, just like the end of the Roman Empire. We had then the Holy Roman Empire. Then that broke up, and we had the kids up there in Constantinople and the guys down in the Vatican. And then what did they do? They precipitated the Dark Ages. So they could keep the biggest enemy of any state is its own people.
And then mushrooms, onions.
The Romans kept their people in check with, bread and circus. We have fast food and screens. And at a certain point, that doesn't work anymore. So, good luck with that. Can you read a book? Can you add 2 plus 2? Or are you already so dumbed out by your screen that you can't know what's going on? Now, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I have no internet, no TV, no nothing. It's pretty cold, but I keep myself warm. Anyone have any questions? So far, how many minutes? 10 minutes and 47 seconds, right? 1 thumbs up. Thank you very much. It's interesting. Back to end of August, beginning of September, I had a week where Monday, 1,000 people showed up and like tons of questions and blah, 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 blah. Oh, this is great, blah, 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 blah. Right? Next day, 2,000 people. Next day, 3,000 people. By Friday, 6,000 people watching, Sensie Owl Bob and Dreamy Dreamland. Then I got some emails saying, we really like you. You see, we just bent the algorithm so people would watch you. They love it. We would love to support you. We'd love to make you famous. We'd love to make you rich. Right? And I said, oh, I am so flattered, so thank you, but what do you really want? And they basically said, oh, you can do what you want. We just want to own the content. So what does that mean? You want to make me into your algorithm puppy, right? But I only have one master, and that is God. I'm a doula of love's co-creation. Every day and every way I take the piece of the earth and I make it stronger, right? By just doing this, by just being nice, by just talking to people, right? I used to, between 1988 and 2014, I was the itinerant scholar for people like Brookings and CFR and, you name it. I went and studied things. I got more degrees than a thermometer. But did I matriculate? No. Did I pay for it? No. Basically, I would go to a study, and at a certain point, I would be in the mix, and they'd say, well, you need something to show your authority. So they'd just give me a degree. Oh, here's a doctorate, right? That's why I'm the double doctor, I had all these things from prestigious universities saying I was I graduated here and I had a master's degree in this and a doctorate in that. And because to be able to run something, the people there needed to, because of, protocol or, wanting status, everyone's like, but I was never there long enough for the right? I just kind of did my job and went on my way. So, and that's what I liked. It was fun. They paid me a lot of money. And then I went into the corporate world around 2003, and that was a whole nother kettle of fish. Because I was hanging out with these chuckleheads that are running this world. And they are, this styrofoam cup has a higher IQ than those guys, so that's why we're in the trouble we're in. I mean, the crash of '08, really? We had, one friend of mine said, this is going to last forever because things are through the floor and the only way they can keep the stock market up is lend these guys money so they can buy their stock back so it can go up and up and up and up. That's why it went from 17 up to 48,000. It wasn't based on anything. And that money is worthless. Now the oil dollar is going away, And Russia and China and the BRICS, they aren't any better. We need a moral foundation, not an economic foundation. Might does not make right. And the golden rule in our day is who has the gold rules, right? So you can't eat gold, So, and we have all of our integrated chips made at TNC, in Taiwan, semiconductor whatever, that place, right? They make the big ones, the really, right? One company is the foundation, linchpin, backbone of everything. If China invades them and that town, and, things close down, they turn, they go into fighting, things get bombed. It's no semiconductors for your car, or the F, 37 or anything. 72 hours, that'll be it. All manufacturing will stop. In the United States, that's like 70,000 jobs stop. You thought the stop of COVID was bad? Wee! Because there ain't going to be no checks coming, So go get some, and this winter, we thought that last little snowstorm in New York City and New Jersey was bad. Baby, after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, there's this really crazy front that's coming through. It's going to, from tomorrow until a week from tomorrow, it's going to be like 70 degrees everywhere. Then it's going to go down to 50 degrees below zero, like overnight. Wednesday or Thursday of next week, like before Christmas, it's going to be like 70 degrees in the afternoon. And then that morning at 6, it's going to be 70 degrees below zero. Everybody's water pipe freezes, right? Everyone turns on the heater, the electricity fries. Because our utilities haven't been upgraded since 1940, So no electricity, no gas in your car, right? All Russia has to do is fly by one, genetic, geologic, what do they call those things? An electromagnetic pulse, EMP, one bang, or even the sun. Sun gives a X flare at one side of Earth. It's fried. Not the people, but everything electronic. Say goodbye. So this is like the perfect storm. And it was like I read, when I was at the CFR, I read things that were written in the World Crew. Like there was a, let's see, where are my glasses? Someone just wrote something here. Let's see. Chill has begun here too, very mild up to now. I'm going, winter read. Bless you. Okay. I love you guys too. Mr. Rubis. Dr. Rubis. Anyway, so, yeah. It's going to be one heck of a roller coaster ride. Change are coming, yeah. What's her name? That black woman who had her, what was it called? Bad fruit or sour fruit or really beautiful black woman, the Harlem Renaissance. She had a song all about this, right? So anyway, I would, we're not prepared, and the place you really have to be prepared is in your spiritual sense, because that's the only way you're going to get out of this thing on the other side is let God, hand the steering wheel over to God. That's it. I've been doing, when I died in 2014, that's what I did. I read the Bible, but I don't read it like a churchy guy. The Bible to me is, because there's so many different, I wouldn't read that Bible, blah, 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 blah. It's, every Bible is the Word of God. When it talks to you, you have to let it talk to you. Yep. So, let's see. Strange fruit, thank you. Flags hanging from trees. Thanks to good old Woodrow Wilson. Yep. So, and guys, you have to realize things aren't any worse than they ever were. It's nothing big, nothing different, nothing. People, it's the end of time. Oh, it's end times. Satan's always here. He's like right on your shoulder, right over there. But God's on this shoulder. Listen to God, you're fine. Listen to Satan. Satan can't do anything. God made it happen. Devil made it happen. No. All Satan can do is tempt you. You do the bad stuff. Satan doesn't. You know? And that's what this is, a sandbox. This is an illusion. That movie, The Matrix, it's exactly what it is. You know, I had the girl making cookies, and you had the guy in the white suit looking like Santa Claus with all the TV, you know, he had the security TVs on. You know, it's like, come on. Wake up. Get a life. Do something nice for somebody else. That's the only way you're getting out of this. Yep, exactly. This is what life in illusion must experience and endure. Thank you, Dr. Rubis.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas and good luck. Christmas. Thank you. If you need anything, you know. All right, you too. Delicious.
So I'm in a nice place. These people love me, and they let me do my show from here, and it's warm, and I have good food, and yeah. So I'm their in-house Santa. So anyway, I build every day. Yep. And what Dr. Rubis builds is a commitment to being his best, or herself, right? Their best. You know, I never quite know what gender you guys have, but that doesn't matter. It's like, you know, there was, you know, the covenant, right? The Ark of the Covenant. We're the Ark, you know, we're this Ark. And we go from this to this, right? So there is no better, it's the Ark, right? And you turn the Ark over and you got a salad bowl, and everyone jumps in the salad bowl. And that was, back in the day of Noah, that was the Ark, right? That's the salad bowl, right? All those animals, Noah's family. So we're not only, you know, come from Adam and Eve, we come from, you know, Noah. If you go along with that. There's a place here in Tennessee that they have their own version of the Ark. It's kind of fun. So most Christians look at the Bible and Christianity as some kind of comic book. You know, I would say South Park is as religiously viable as you know, the King James. And there's so many King James. You know, there's this Bible King James, there's Catholic King James, there's a Protestant King James. Warm, good food. Well, got to be good. Yep. Catch you later. Okay, buddy. If I don't see you, I'll be seeing you down the line. Okay, kids. I'm going to go too.